Alright, so we're going to look at mid best of one draft decks. Uh, this is more a reminder for me so that when this comes back as it's a quick draft or some other format where you can play it on Arena, I will remember what worked and what didn't work. So we'll be looking at just some generic shell builds using just common and uncommons. So we'll start out with the two strongest decks, generally speaking, the blue-white and the blue-black decks. So looking at blue-white, like break it down into creature, non-creature. So generally speaking, curve considerations as well as power level, and then using 17 lands, your improvement with drawns, your game in hand and other win rates can kind of figure out what a shell for this deck might look like. So some of the big heavy hitters, cards you would want to get if you can. Your Organ Hoarder, Revenge of the Drowned, as well as the Lunarch Veterans, and then the Shipwreck Sifters and Beta Ganglers. Thought process here is we want to try and get tons of value that we can accrue, beginning as early as turn 1 and 2, and then just eventually get some flyers, play an attrition game, overwhelm the opponent through that method. So ways to start with that: Lunarch Veteran. In most decks in the format, you're going to see this being your premium white common. It's nice to come down on turn 1 and then start accruing incidental life gain with these other creatures that are played. And then a lot of 2s. Almost all of these are either going to have Disturb or have a way to get something into the graveyard, like with Shipwreck Sifters. And then we move up the curve. Some 3s, again, value-oriented, 2-for-1s, with the Morning Patrols, Overwhelm Archivists, and then Falcon A-Bomb, dropping self in a Decayed Zombie when you're played. And then other than a Phantom Carriage, which really could just be most any other card, you're just looking for some sort of evasive threat, can maybe add a little bit of value. Generally speaking, topping off at 4 with your interaction with Revenge, and then your value engine with Organ Hoarder, or Search Party Captain, that's not as good as Organ Hoarder. Blue-white oftentimes will have an interaction problem, so Revenge is great for increasing your tempo advantage, adding a resource with the zombie, and then Blessed Defiance is a way to maybe get another flyer out, get some life gain back. If you fall behind a little bit, the opponents had some interaction, some ways to deal with your threats. You're, for the most part, looking at just commons. There are a few uncommons that could be beneficial. On the interaction side, Borrow Time's fine. Don't have to have it, but it can be useful to answer some threats that are otherwise tough. Graph Keepers, very solid. The milling's nice. You might get some value, 1 or 2 cards that have Disturb milled that way. But also when you start casting creatures or other cards from your graveyard, you get to tap creatures that can help get your flyers through. And then Scop Wrangler, great stopping opponents, most threatening creatures, and then can help clear the board, tap their stuff into turn, and then swing through for lethal at some point once you've established enough creatures to do that. Ambitious Farmhands, one of the best white uncommons. It's not essential for the deck, but it's a nice have. Same with Chaplain of Alms as well. Large Zombies, key in helping get through the deck to see what you need. You can put discard cards with Disturb into the graveyard off the top of your deck, so you're almost like drawing a card with doing that. Deck's a little heavier blue than white, so we see that shown with the lands, and you could obviously have 1 or 2 Evolving Wilds in this build as well. So that's blue-white. Lower to the ground, it accrues tons of value through recasting cards on their Disturb side, Sifters, in effect maybe drawing a card if you discard a Disturb card or a creature that's a spirit. Blue-black, other top deck of the format. And pretty even between blue and black.